Yo!
Woo!
How you doing, Jei'mar?
Coach D, what's up, baby? What's up, Vested? Tech team.
It is vested time. You are here with my friend Jei'mar Spell. I am Damien Minna. We are here today to inspire, create, and empower. And Jei'mar, it is now Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Boom.
Our time. We have a special guest in Colorado. It is 7 o'clock his time. We'll bring him on in a minute. But
Wait, Coach D, hold on, man.
I know it's coming.
Why are you trying to move so fast? Where are you, man?
Well, are you asking because you see Wreck-It Ralph? Is that what's happening?
Man, I see Wreck-It Ralph, bro. Where are you at?
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about Wreck-It, okay? I'll talk to you a little about this room that I'm in, all right? So Vested, I was trying to tell our guests today that it's not necessarily about the fact that it's perfect or that it's clean or clear, that you say the right things. Vested is about truly dedicating yourself to something. And tonight I dedicated myself to getting my car washed, okay, and I figured it'd take about a half hour, and I made a friend. His name was Gustavo, okay? Gustavo, he's a really nice guy. And, we get to talking this and that. We become friends. I give him some water. Gustavo decides because I'm a nice guy, that he's going to detail my car, which I'm appreciative of, right? Gustavo takes an hour and a half when I needed him to do it in half an hour, okay?
Sorry. Love you, Gustavo.
Hey, listen, much love. This is my dude right here, okay? I also made a friend that might be watching our show right now, Isaiah, if you're there. Oh, baby, hello. We made friends. This is my new friend, Isaiah. Hey,
Isaiah, what's up?
This is Jei'mar Spell. This is Vested, okay? I hope you're watching. I hope you're enjoying, okay? So back to Gustavo. Great guy. And anyway, we're up the street from my mom and dad's house, so we don't have enough time to make it home. What do? What did 2020 teach us? We pivot, Jei'mar, okay? Boom. I am in the room that I grew up in, okay? Wow. This room right here is the room that Damien Minna was in when he was in high school, when I used to be best friends with my boy Phil. Shout out to him that is no longer with us. But this is where it all started, Jei'mar. And now it is a kid's room. It's a kid's room. That's why I got done up. Now I'm a kid's room kind of guy. So,
well, you think about it, Coach D, real quick on this thought process. You think about at that time when you were growing up at that phase of your life, there was no way you even had the vision that one day you're going to be an adult streaming broadcasting a live stream TV instrument, vibrational frequency called Vested from your room.
Not real.
Like there's no way for us to even see that in the future. So, man, it's amazing.
Okay, the reason I brought up my boy Phil, okay, is because his number when he played sports, both basketball and football, was 50, Jei'mar. Okay, now, this is our 50th episode.
Come on.
All right.
Phil. R.I.P., brother.
Video games on the floor that I'm sitting on right now with my boy Phil when I was in like junior high on Sega Genesis, Madden. Played Madden. All right.
Wow.
But listen, Jei'mar. Okay, so that's what Vested's about, right? So our guest tonight, he was Vested. And I'm going to be totally straight with you. He got recommended to me through a friend who I'm not too happy with right now. I love him to death, but, he doesn't necessarily always make the best decisions. That doesn't mean I love him any less, Jei'mar. Okay? It doesn't mean
Coach
I don't love his girlfriend any less.
You said was. Our guest is Vested.
Oh, homie, more than you know.
Okay.
So my good friend Trev, okay, through his wonderful lady, recommended this up-and-coming rapper, okay? And he had some issues with addiction. And it wasn't until he was able to look himself in the mirror and push himself to go beyond what was comfortable, to be who he truly is, until he really figured out what was going on. So he pushed himself through addiction, and he didn't just overcome addiction. Like the title of this show says, he made a stand and he delivers pizza, okay, while he builds his rap career. And just recently, he got an opportunity to open for one of the members from Bone Thugs and Harmony on his own merit, on his own hard work, and our friends that are still with him. And I want to bring him on right now. His name is CoDaniel. We're going to bring him onto our show to inspire, create, and empower. And here he is, Jei'mar. Let's talk to our boy CoDaniel.
Let's go, man. What's up, brother?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, man.
It's good
Me
to be
and Jei'mar and
here.
Mike and Ralph would like to welcome you.
Oh, man.
What's up, Ralph?
So what do you want us to address you as, brother? Your name, Code 7, talk to us.
I mean, so as a rapper who's trying to build my career, I should probably have you address me as Code 7.
Yeah,
That just
let's
feels
go.
weird to me.
Whoa, hold on, Jei'mar. Look, you did this. You jumped out of the gate right away. Okay, there's two different people we're going to talk to tonight. Okay, because I already talked to Jei'mar. He's as excited to talk to you as I am. Okay, listen. Inspire, create, and empower. We're gonna unfold this. Okay, and part of the idea of the show is to be vulnerable enough to be able to show the weak spots that that we had to overcome. Okay, to be able to get to where we are. So you started CoDaniel because your mom named you that, and you created this life for yourself through struggle and through success to become CoDaniel. So to become Code 7. So what I'd like to do is in the inspire section, I'd like to start by what your mama named you, and then we'll go from there. So what do you think, Jei'mar? Is it too early? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Let's go. Let's go.
Do it.
Look up.
All right.
Love the graphic. That's dope.
So me and my boy Wreck-It Ralph would like to know the things that only your mama knows. Okay, start me off young. Okay, you're CoDaniel. At what point do you start kicking in and realizing that you have these thoughts, these rhythmic thoughts, and then at what point do you get off the track, brother?
So I first started writing. I mean, when I was about 12 years old, I started writing poetry. I had a very structurally minded, like pentameter driven thought process, sort of. So I started writing poetry when I was about 13. And when I was 19, my mom actually got me a guitar for my birthday. And it was this old beat up Giannini guitar, really nice guitar, but it was old and beat up and kind of a junker. But I learned how to play guitar and started writing songs at that point. So I started playing guitar when I was 19 and really started exploring music as a way to express what was in here. And from that, I just started messing around writing songs. I did a lot of comedy songs. And then I wrote some deeper stuff that actually meant something to me. But all of that kind of got lost by the wayside when I started using drugs more heavily and kind of just fell into the background until a couple of years ago. I really started getting back after it.
Wow. Right out the gate, man. Right out the gate.
Yeah.
Coach D, what are you thinking? We got to be
writing songs. He's having fun. He's figuring himself out. But what I'm hearing there's a sensitive guy there. That's what I'm hearing. There's somebody that, he's not rapping about, the hood and drugs and gangs right out the bat. He's playing the guitar. He's writing poetry. He's really finding that there's something on the inside that he doesn't necessarily understand. But then he starts doing them drugs and alcohol. Look, man, that stuff feels good. And not only does it feel good, but it pushes your creativity beyond places that you're familiar with. And in ways, I mean, it helps artists expand their mind. But at the same time, if you have broken parts on the inside that you're trying to figure out, and you toss in some chemicals and some hallucinogens and a little alcohol, it makes it difficult. Not everybody has the fortitude to be able to jump in and out. And what I think my boy CoDaniel is about to tell us is the time where it got a little shaky and things got rough. So I'm gonna package it up for you, bro. Here you are. You're having fun. You're writing. You're with your boys. Things are good. Okay. At what point does the water bubble over? Okay. At what point do you start to recognize that you're now cashing in your dignity and your integrity and your feelings and your love for life for something beyond?
Good question, D.
That's a real good question. I mean, there have been a lot of different points over, the last 20 years. The one that's probably the most prominent is, let's see, was it April 24th, 2009? Yeah. I had woken up on 420 and my first thought that day was, I should hit a meeting today. And then like a few minutes later, I realized it was 420 and I was like, wow, that's a sign. I need to get clean. So I was clean for the next 4 days. And then on Friday, the band that I was writing lyrics for kicked me out. And just a bunch of little stuff kind of all bubbled up together. And so, I relapsed and I drank like 3 40s and ate a bunch of Percocets and drove up to a friend's house to see if they were home, and they were having a big old party and no one had invited me. So I got really mad and decided that I was going to make myself feel better by driving really fast, right? Let's head to the liquor store. They were about to close. So my sister hops in the passenger seat and my friend hops in the back seat. For whatever reason, they're like, yeah, let's go on a joyride with our drunk friend. and I start hauling ass down this road. I knew this road like the back of my hand. I'd driven it 100 times. You know, I knew exactly how far it was until the road curved, but my drunk mind didn't comprehend that if I was going twice the speed, I had half the time to get there. So I got to 100 miles an hour, which was my goal. And then I looked up and the road curved. And luckily, my sister had buckled her seatbelt like literally 2 seconds before that. But so we skidded up onto this hill. My car flipped 2.5 times, landed in someone's yard. You know, I was basically fine. My sister was okay. She had some internal bleeding, but, you know, it wasn't too severe. But then I looked to see where my friend was, if he was okay, and he hadn't been wearing a seatbelt. He was ejected from the car and flew about 50 yards. And I found him laying on the ground a little ways away from the car, and he had like ribs poking out of his chest. And it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. So, you know, I put my leather jacket under his head to cushion him, and then I went into the house there and called the cops and went to jail. You know, and I didn't find out for like 2 months after that whether he was even alive, because they didn't know if he was going to make it. But he did pull through, and instead of vehicular manslaughter, I went to jail for vehicular assault, got a 3-year prison sentence, of which I did like 6 months, and then I went to the halfway house for 2.5 years. But that was probably one of the most eye-opening moments that this is not a good life. You know, there's got to be something better. I wish I could say that it ended right there, but you know, I jumped back into it and back into it and back into it after that. But that's probably the most like profound moment in my life that made me realize, like, wow, you're throwing it all away. And not only are you ruining your life, you could have possibly killed someone else.
Well, man, you know, Coach Seven, I appreciate you sharing that deep moment with us, and want to let you know, as human beings, just so you know, here being on Vested, we love you either way, brother. You know, that's just our heart here. Every single person, we all fall short. We all make mistakes because we're human beings, and we got to extend grace and mercy to each other and know that our best days are ahead, and do our best not to judge people on their decisions, because we all have made questionable decisions in our lifetime. But speaking on inspiration, and the other side of inspiration is that it can inspire us to do things that don't serve us, right? Because when we get inspired, inspiration can go many ways, positive and not so positive. So just help us understand. Let's go back a little bit. What was the inspiration that got you down that path of dabbling into that addictions phase of life? Like what were you trying to mask? What were you running from? What was the introduction? Like, how did you get there?
Okay, well, that's a interesting story. I was never really a popular kid in school, you know. Kids are mean, you know, that's never changed. But I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. And so somewhere around 9th grade, I decided, you know, if these people don't like me the way that I am, I'm going to give them a reason not to like me. And so I started designing my own clothes. I became like a full-blown poster child for punk rock. I'd get plain white T-shirts. I wrote, you know, just weird, sassy sayings on them. I had one that said, "Love, under the cover of love lies deep-rooted hate. Deep beneath the facade of hate lies unparalleled love. And amidst the confusing, chaotic swirl of love colliding with hate, you will always find anarchy." You know, and just basically made myself a freak for them to fit their mold of what they thought I was. And at that point in my life, that's when people actually started wanting to talk to me, because I no longer cared what they thought. And that duplicity, you know, that inconsistency in who they were really drove me to a point where I was like, you know what, this is dumb. I don't want to deal with any of these feelings, so I'm going to start getting high. So started smoking weed and drinking, and from there it was just, you know, one thing led to another, to another, to another, and I just dabbled in all that pretty much from the time I was like 14.
Jei'mar, before you showed up, man, we got a little talking, and I told him, I was like, look, bro, I wasn't sure if we were going to have you on the show. I didn't know if you fit the mold of what it is that we were trying to do. And the fact that he came out swinging, okay, with one of the most intense things that could ever happen to an individual with my question. And then he answered the same way to your question. I mean, I'd say he's vested, Jei'mar.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that's what Vested is about. Vested is about us still pursuing life and our goals and dreams despite the challenge and adversity. And brother, Coach 7, you just happen to experience adversity in that addiction realm, and I think that we all have some kind of addiction to something. I think it's part of our human nature. Some are stronger than others, and some are they can cause more damage than others too. So, just know that, man, we know that you're staying focused and pursuing what you want to pursue despite, and that's why you're still, like Coach D said, doing whatever you can right now to hold things together as you're striving to become the man, the vision that you have of yourself in the industry. So, man, I commend you, brother, because a lot of people, just what you just shared here in the first 10 minutes, that would have taken a lot of people out, period.
Lifetimes. Some people don't make decisions. Some people continue in that area. Some people that we know and love continue in that. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so we're still in the Inspire section, but let's segue right into the Create, because you get in this accident, you go in and out of addiction, and addiction is just part of who you are, man. And I love where Jei'mar came from with that question. Okay, hold on real quick. We got to talk about Mama's government. CoDaniel, bro. What? This is my brother. Oh no, this is actually Rebecca. CoDaniel? What's CoDaniel? Well, tell us the story about CoDaniel. There's just Daniel. There's just one of you. Well, what's this co stuff?
All right. So first off, I got to correct this spelling. Everyone does that. The D is not capitalized.
Okay.
Which is fine. That's how most people would think it would be. Most of the time that people ask me this, I give them a really short, not true answer. Oh, they couldn't decide between Cody and Daniel, so they compromised. But this is a chance to get the truth out. So there's a movie called A Man Called Horse, I believe it is. And there was a character in that movie called Coda. And my mom loved that name. And so when I was conceived, she was like, we're going to name him Coda. And I'm going to paraphrase this because this isn't exactly it. But when I came out, she was like, he's far too white to be a Coda. So they tacked a Neil on the end, so it became CoDaniel.
Hey, Mom was. Yeah. Now I know where you get your creativity from, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back on track. So you're in a position where you have this accident. You've done some time at the Bard Hotel. You're now in a position in your head where you're going back and forth because you're hurt. You're toying with numbing yourself and understanding that this isn't quite the way. Now, from inspiration to creation, because that's the next section we're going to do. What inspired your ability to make a stand about who you wanted to be as a sober individual?
That's a really big question. I mean, I can't pin that down to just one thing. There have been so many people that I've lost due to addiction. Some of my best friends have overdosed and died. A really good friend of mine, something like 3.5 years ago, got into a relationship with someone that was really manipulative and controlling, and he cut her off from everyone in her life. And, she was able to break away and call me like a couple days before, but we talked on the phone for like a half hour. And then 2 days later, she killed herself. She shot herself in the head because she couldn't deal with him anymore. And so all of the things and all the struggling that I see in people that I know have so much to offer the world, people that are so amazing, like who they actually are, not what their drugs and their behaviors have made them to be, but who they actually are, their true identity, just snapped out of existence because they couldn't figure out how to get their life on track. And so somewhere's in that, and a friend of mine telling me basically the same thing to me, like, you have so much to offer if you can just get your life right, made me make the decision, and it's about follow through. I had to change everything. I had to stop hanging out with everyone I knew that used. I had to attend. I'm not supposed to talk about the program on press, radio, and film. So I had to develop a support system that was able to understand where I was coming from and really commit my life to that, And then through that, I started writing songs about recovering from addiction, and found out that I'm actually pretty good at it. I'm a lot better than most people think I would be, just from looking at me. So,
all right, now we got to hit the brakes on you, bro, because now we got to move from your government into your purpose. Okay, so let's do a little creations.
Boom! Woo!
Okay, so got a little bit, we got into your life a little bit, into the individual, and I want to get into the purpose. Okay, so at what point do we go from I write stuff on some paper, and notice how you didn't just write some stuff on your shirt back in the day, man. The stuff that you wrote on your shirt actually meant something. So if you were paying attention and you walked by that wasn't popular or unpopular, you were going to read something on the back of your shirt that actually meant something. Okay, so not only did it mean something, you rifled it off like it was tattooed on the inside of your eyeball. Okay, you remember it and you felt it. Okay, so at what point did you feel like, hey man, writing and rhyming is fun, but at the same time, not only am I good at this, but like it is in me so deep. The passion. I mean, it started with punk rock, and now you're rapping a little bit, very Beastie Boys-esque, but at the same time, it's very much your own, man, because we'll put a clip of you, a short one up here in a second, of you doing your thing. But at what point did the creativity section become, I am now Code 7 the rapper?
Bam.
Well, as far as Code 7, like I went through a bunch of different names, so we'll just leave Code 7 the rapper as insert name here the rapper, because the part that you were originally talking about starts before that. But
back it up. Let me hear it. This is great.
Okay. So in my first year clean, I like painstakingly, meticulously wrote this song called One Day at a Time, about the struggles of addiction, about breaking out of that, about some funny anecdotes of things that happen in addiction, and about stepping into my true identity and going after the purpose that God gave me. And then the next song that I wrote was about people I know overdosing, and I wrote that one in about 3 months. And then when George Floyd was killed, I wrote a song about that and made a video within 2 days, because I felt that so deeply. I had to get it out there. And so I think it was at that point, and also with COVID, I had so much free time that I just started writing. I just put beats on, I was able to put on into, solid form through that call to action song. I just wanted to get more and more out. So I would just drive deliveries. And while I was driving deliveries, I'd be listening to beats and I'd be thinking of lyrics in my head, And so it was probably about April, May of last year. Or what, I guess it was, I think it was like the end of May that I really started going after it. I went through a bunch of different names. Someone told me I should be Easy Killer, because every time someone took the Lord's name in vain, I would be like, Easy Killer. I went Co-op, I went Surreal, I went CoDaniel, and then eventually landed on Code 7, because we met some random guy in Long Beach on my birthday, and he was like, you should be Code 7. And I was like, what? And then I looked it up, and Code 7 is the police code for shots fired, and I was like, that's cool. So I went with
there
it.
There we go.
Jei'mar, hold on, brother. I gotta stop you real quick.
We got a video, bro?
We do. Let's show a little clip real quick. Cheeky, will you show that one video you pulled up in a pre-interview?
What we got, tech team? What we got?
All right. Well, there we go.
Skin like you a grown man who spent over $4,000 putting music out, and still you ain't got no fans. Don't try to battle me, homie, you won't win. I know everything that makes you feel out of place in your own skin. Like you a grown man who spent over $4,000 putting music out, and still you ain't got no fans.
Woo! All right, there's a little spit. Gotta put a little spit in there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, man. As you're creating this self, this inner self, as you're becoming this rapper, as it's all unfolding, how did you? In the middle of COVID, right? Okay. In the middle of trying to be sober, I'm just trying to piece it together. I'm missing something. Okay. So at some point, you decided to go all in, man. And obviously, we get better as we go. But at the same time, I'm looking at these videos and they're well shot. And you're talking about COVID. This only happened a couple of months ago. Talk to me about your commitment and where this inspiration comes from, because we're dealing with this same thing here, Jei'mar, is some people come up here and they don't understand that when they give their very best effort, something magical happens, because he just brushed over the idea that the man writes raps while he delivers pizzas because he doesn't care what it takes. He's gonna make it. Okay, so that's different, bro, than just writing. Okay, that's different than just putting something on your shirt. The reason you put it on your shirt is because it's from your soul, man. You're doing this while you're delivering pizzas. Tell people about how they can take something like an addiction and flip it over as inspiration for a passion.
That's a big one. All right. I mean, I guess it really boils down to what matters to you, you know. And for me, the people in my life that I care about are always what have mattered to me. And so, like I said, seeing the people that I know either lose their life in a literal sense through, you know, addiction, or through, you know, drug deals gone wrong with some violence, or through, you know, incarceration for who knows how long, or whether it's losing your life in a metaphorical sense of just being a slave and a zombie to this chemical that just grabs at you and pulls you back in every waking moment. We're all made for so much more than that. And so being able to see that, and also seeing people that I know that I never thought would get out of the cycle of addiction. My mom was an addict my entire life. She got clean right before my 21st birthday, you know, and she's been clean ever since. So things like that, and to see she committed her life to working in the addiction field. She was a counselor at a really good rehab for like a decade, and then she just traveled the country like twice, just drove across the country just because she wanted to explore the world, you know. And that's something that you don't get to do unless you really pursue the life that you want. You know, we sell ourselves so short with what we allow ourselves, you know, or I sold myself so short with what I allowed myself, thinking that I was never worth anything more than, you know, running a drive-through window at McDonald's, or you know, being a grunt man throwing logs into a trailer for a tree trimmer. But the reality is, what's inside, if you give it the opportunity to get out, can change the world, because we were all made for a purpose. Like, I truly believe that we all have a purpose here. And maybe it's not rapping, maybe it's not reaching people in the addiction field, maybe it's just having a positive attitude that leaks out into everyone that you meet on a daily basis to bring a little more positivity in the world. But we all have a reason to be here. And when I found that reason, nothing's going to stop me, you know?
Jei'mar, he's starting to empower. I know you got something for him in the creation section, but he's starting to empower.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Well, like that, empower, we're going to do it. Let's do it. Drop it down.
Let's go. See, right there, he's talking about purpose, right? He's talking about living life beyond the current state, right? He's talking about pursuing that next version of self, despite the setback, despite the challenge, despite the adversity. I got a question for you, Coach 7. Because that right there, that's a form of mental toughness that you're describing. You're talking on the mental toughness frequency. So where do you think that you learned about how to tap into that mental toughness vibration despite?
I mean, I've had a lot of really strong people in my life. My mom's mom, one of the most amazing women I've ever met. She had 5 kids. One of them was Down syndrome, and she was the best mom. And then grandma that half raised me and my sister and my little brother, whenever my mom was really in the depths of her addiction, you know, and she always did it with a smile on her face, and taking care of my grandpa, who had diabetes and was, something just went booba-doo.
We still got you.
Come on, baby.
Oh, he's gone straight.
Go. Come on. Oh, there we go.
Damn.
CoDaniel. Coach 7.
Houston.
All right. Well, anyway.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Woo.
Oh, Oh, you got
back. We're back.
We had to pull up
Was
the
that?
paddles.
Did I go away?
Yeah, it's all
We had
good.
to pull up the paddle. Bam, bam. Now you're good. You're good. Okay, so where you left off was you were talking about your mom, and you were talking about how
Mom's
incredible-
mom, strong people in your life.
Yep.
Yeah. So my dad's mom, she had the same sort of thing. She's literally probably the sweetest, most amazing, determined person that I know. She raised, I think, 4 kids, and also took care of all of us grandkids. My grandpa on my dad's side had diabetes, and she took care of him up to the point when he passed. And she's always had a smile on her face. And despite all the struggles that came up, just the ability to say, God is good, and I'm blessed to be alive. And so things like that. And then just the friends that I've made throughout the years, a lot of people going through difficult struggles and being able to make it through them. If they can make it through them, then so can I,
Mm-hmm. Man, well, you mentioned the creator of the universe, God, in that moment there. What role do you think your faith has played in your empowering journey that you've been on?
Well, I mean, Jesus is my homeboy. A lot of people. I have a hard time pinning it down because when I went to prison, I was a very vocal atheist. My buddy and I used to go and convert the campus crusaders to atheism, for fun when we were drunk. It was ridiculous. But when I was in prison, I encountered him. I felt him in my soul, and so I started, reading my Bible and going through that and stuff. But when I got out, I had a really difficult time because so many Christians that I know, and in fact, peoples of many faiths, believe that things that I know are bad are good. And so it's been a really big struggle trying to reconcile my faith in who I know God to be with who I am and always have been, even when I haven't been living up to my identity. And so I guess my faith that God is good, despite what other people may say about him, has been huge for me. Because a lot of people, I mean, everyone's got their own conception. They can believe what they believe. But I feel like a lot of people want to put down others and take away their right to be who they are based on who they think God is. And that it just twists my gut in such a bad way, But because I know who he is to me, I'm able to get through that.
Hey, Jei'mar,
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna tell you what. Okay, he doesn't know this yet. Okay, but that could very well have been one of the most empowering things that we've had so far on the show.
Right.
CoDaniel, and I'm gonna use your mom, your government, because listen, man, Jei'mar knows my struggle with my faith being on this. Jei'mar is a standing army, a standing soldier of Jesus, and will beat his chest around anyone and doesn't care what anyone else thinks. But I've experienced very similar things that you have, and I don't want to say my faith is selfish, but my faith is very, very strong, and I don't feel like I need to prove it to anybody because, like you said, I feel it in my heart. Okay, and when I get on a show and I have the opportunity to touch upon the subject, it's oftentimes a little bit difficult because I want to honor everybody's belief. I want to honor everybody's alignment with God, and I follow Jei'mar's lead because I feel like he does a very good job of it. And like I said, Jesus is my homeboy too. But at the same time, there are things that exist in this world that make the whole understanding of religion itself or dogma or whatever you want to call it very complicated. So I want you to take me from a time where you're a drug addict, but then you're sober, you're a punk rocker, and then you're a rapper, you're an atheist, and then you're following Jesus. And now you enter the rap game. Talk to me.
I actually have a song that addresses this exact thing. I haven't put it out yet, but it's called "I'ma Do It." It's one of the songs I did in LA. It's called "I'ma Do It My Way," and it basically just talks about all the contradictions that that I seem to be, but the fact is, I'm just me. I love punk rock. I love heavy metal. I was a metalhead for 20 years, and I'm going to a metal show in August. I'm going to go get in that mosh pit and tear it up. But I feel like we try and put boxes around people. Do you fit into this category? Do you fit into this category? Are you you know, you're white, you're black, you're gay, you're straight, you're a rapper, you're a rocker, all these things. But in reality, no one is just right down the line of any one thing. I mean, well, obviously, I'm white. Yeah, okay. But
hold on,
like,
hold on.
Go
Bars,
ahead.
bars, sir. Bars. You said you had a song about it. Bars, please.
You want to hear the bars?
I mean, you are a rapper.
Come on, baby.
Yeah. All right. It goes. They say that I'm a contradiction in terms, and everybody looking at me, they just itching to learn. But if you try and figure me out, you gonna get what you've earned. I'm spitting fire, so you're leaving here with 50-degree burns. And when I return, not many discern the inner yearnings that I'm feeling, so I'm dealing with my enemies first, because I don't want to make the emptiness worse. I'm simply trying to write a significant verse. See, I'm just as home in the mosh pit as when I'm on the mic and I'm recording some hot shit, smoking cigarettes and hanging out with the goth kids, or in a Bible study speaking truth like a prophet. I'm not kidding, because I refuse to be boxed in, and all your expectations got me feeling exhausted. Maybe we could benefit from a lesson in sentiment and accepting ourselves and each other the way that God did. Yeah, but I don't know if you're ready or not for such a radical thought, because though the battle is hot, it doesn't look like you've been catching the plot. Maybe it's time for the laborers to go and give the cattle a prod. I know I'm kicking the beehive, but we find freeze-dried Christianity is deprived of what it used to be built on, like being kind and having the boldness to speak your mind.
Woo! My man.
Come on, baby.
Hey, bro, we're gonna have a rapper gossip.
Oh, come on, man. That was the first spit right there on Vested, man. Just brought it in the moment.
All right, now let's get into your rap career, man. All right, just recently you run
Yeah,
a battle.
it's better with the beat, but you know.
No, hey, bro, that was from the heart, man. That was it. That was the flow.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Coach D. You.
Well, no, let's see. Let's follow him now. Okay, so you're a rapper, bro. You're a rapper. You are a pizza delivering, recovered rapper, and it coming from your belly, man. Tell us about this battle you just won.
Oh, so it wasn't a battle; it was a competition. But basically, $100 entry. There were 16 people competing, and whoever got judged to be, you know, the best in show got a slot open in for Crazy Bone. My friend told me about it like 5 days before the competition. It's actually my boy Plex. He's the one that I recorded my first song with, the one that introduced me to Vic, who's the guy I've done, you know, 90% of my music with, the one who shoots all my videos. But he hit me up. He's like, hey, you got to get on the show, you know. So last minute, I got the night off work. I went down there. First time I ever performed, and they put me on first, which at first I was like, oh, man, they must think I'm garbage, you know. But I restructured my mind. I was like, you know what? I'll go on first, and I'm going to set that bar so high, people are going to have to pole vault over it, you know.
Come on.
And throughout the whole night, they were like, you know, you're definitely like our number one. You're our number one, you know. And at the end of the night, they announced someone else as the winner. I was like, huh, I didn't see that coming, because they were telling me all night, like, you probably got this. And I was like, okay, cool, no big deal, you know. Second, they said I was second. So second place on my first performance, cool, you know. And then the next day, the guy putting the show on messaged me. He's like, you know what, man, I'm making an executive decision. Like, you were so dope last night. We're getting you on this show anyway. Like, we got to have you on it. So I feel like that's almost even a better story than if I had one. And yeah, I'm opening for Crazy Bone. And what's today? Wednesday? 3 days.
Come on,
Bone
man.
Thugs, like Bone Thugs, Crazy Bone, right? Bone
Yeah,
Thugs
Crazy Bone from Bone. Exactly. Yeah.
right, bro.
Man.
All right, listen, how can we follow? How can we watch you? How can we become a fan? What does our Vested community got to do to be a fan of yours, my friend?
And how can you get me to deliver you a pizza? The question says.
My wife wants pizza.
Well, if you live in Fort Collins, you know, just call 221-5454 and I'll be right there. Anyway,
not very much longer. Okay, Crazy Bone. That's not an accident. That's not accidental.
Yeah. Okay. So my socials, code_7_official. That's for Instagram and TikTok. Nice. I do have a Facebook page that one of my good friends set up for me. It's Code 7 Raps, CODEVIIRAPS. It's a Facebook group. And then probably the most important one, because I try and, when I release songs, I pretty much just release them in music videos. I need to be better about putting stuff on Spotify, but that's not creative. That's one of the parts of the drive that I lack, is doing the like administrative work. But so my YouTube is where you're going to see most of my stuff. Code 7, CODE space VII. And I got a new video that's dropping tomorrow at noon. It's called Grit. It's based on there's a lyric by Logic where he says, we all claim it, we all say it, but it's no use. The greatest rapper alive is probably stacking produce. And that got me thinking, well, I ain't the greatest of all time. But I might be but I might be the greatest rapper in town. So grit instead of goat, you know?
Awesome.
So that's dropping tomorrow at noon. Go check it out. It's definitely the best video I've done so far as just the production and it being an actual story and trying to put things together. I mean, Shadow of a Doubt was pretty dope, but that was just me in a room.
I
go
got a
check me
question
out on YouTube. Go ahead.
I got a question, man, Coach D. Question for you, Coach 7, is what would you want? What would you want to leave someone with? Like if there's a takeaway, if there's a bullet point, if there's a golden nugget that you can say, hey, like this right here, this is what I encourage you to consider or look at this perspective or think deep on this. You know, what would that be?
Okay. I was actually thinking about this the other day. For some reason, this thing that I wrote when I was in prison, it's just like a little one sentence concept that I came up with that at the time I thought was really deep. And then later on, I was like, that's garbage. But then I thought about it the other day and I'm like, no, I feel like that's actually pretty accurate based on how my life has been lately. It is the destiny that we choose drives us to fulfill itself. Everyone's got decisions in life, you know. I think that's one of the most amazing things about being human is that we have the ability to choose. Almost every other, I mean, you know, there can be some debate about this based on how sentient various other species are. But as humans, we have the ability to choose. You know, I can choose to log off this right now, get in my car and drive to Missouri and probably get a job like at farming or something if I wanted to. Like I have that option, you know. So decide, you know, our life is up to us. What we make of it, the destiny we choose drives us to fulfill itself. And if you find what you actually want to do it. Don't let anything stop you. You don't have to be restricted by all the things in your life that have kept you away from what you want to be. Like you have the power within you. You know, whether you have to go find a program to help get yourself right, or whether you need to, you know, get out of a toxic relationship, or whether you just need to look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, hey, you know what? I love you and you can do this. The power is in here. You know, the power is in here. And you can do it.
Come on.
So, Daniel, before we wrap things up, I'd like to thank you for being on the show, brother. I'd like to tell my boy Jei'mar, I love you. Tech team, my wife, I love you. Vested community, I love you. But before we leave, man, I'd like to address the idea that you've taken a life that at one point was difficult, man. At one point dealt with bullying. At one point dealt with addiction and, you know, whatever else your family was dealing with too that led them to addiction. And you turned it into purpose, man. And not only that, you're going to take bullying and you're going to use the energy that you felt at that time. And you're going to take it out and create words and images and tunes and rhythms so that other people can understand not only are they not alone, but that there's something on the other side of this. So my final question for you, my friend, is can you give the Vested community and us here one thing that you're truly grateful for?
You know, that's such an easy question. Like there's so many things that I'm grateful for. And whenever I'm feeling down, I make a gratitude list. I'm grateful that I have shoes on my feet. A lot of the world doesn't, you know? So I don't know if I can pick just one. Can I make just a little short list? I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head when there's so many people out there who are homeless, you know? I'm grateful that I have a car that works and a job that supports my needs. I'm grateful that the majority of my family is alive and close to me. And I'm grateful that regardless of what I've done today, I'm alive to try and do something better tomorrow. You know, life might suck sometimes, but we can always try and do better tomorrow.
Well, CoDaniel, Code 7, I am grateful that we had you on the show, man. It was a true blessing for you to be able to share your vulnerability with us, man. And I truly, with all of my heart, believe in you, bro, because anybody that's willing to put themselves out there like you are right now, man, I got your back, baby. So, Jei'mar, wrap this up for us and ask everybody a question.
Man, hey, thank you so much, Coach D, Tech Team. You know, I love you. And CoDaniel, aka Code7, love you, brother. Hey, real quick, power prayer. Thank you, God, for supernatural opportunity and blessings to blow the future to the next level for Code7. Massive opportunities and victory, overflow and abundance, momentum. Hey, amen. We just speak it right there, brother. But I want to say thank you, man, for sharing your heart and your spirit. And like Coach D said, being vulnerable and Vested community. We're all saved by empowered grace. And that's the thing about it is once we know that we're leaders of light and that grace is what helps us move forward in life. You know, Code7 today, he talked about, I don't know if you caught it, he talked about labels and identity. And the world and people and environments will give us labels nonstop. But the question is, do we know our identity? Do we know who we are and whose we are? Right. And so that I really want you to marinate on that is what is your identity? And whatever you're pursuing, whatever goals you have or whatever dreams you have, keep going, keep going, keep going. But it doesn't matter what you're doing. Here's the question. Are you vested?